On the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello, everyone. I'm News Channel 5's political analyst, Pat Nolan. Welcome to Inside Politics. As Nashville and the state of Tennessee look to rebound along with the rest of the nation from the months-long economic shutdown caused by the coronavirus pandemic, a key leadership figure in our area's rebound will be Ralph Schulz, who's the head of the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce. Ralph Schulz is our guest on Inside Politics today. Ralph, welcome back to the program.
Hi, Pat. It's always great to be with you.
As someone who for years has been in economic development, have these last 3 weeks sort of been like your worst nightmare ever?
Oh, there have been positive signs as well as challenges. Over this last 3 months, we have found that the businesses that are interested in coming to Nashville are still interested. We've found businesses that are expanding in Nashville that are still planning that expansion. The number of people that have requested information from us has dropped a little bit, but just in the last week and a half, we've had 8 companies from outside of Nashville asking for information about Nashville. So, there's no question this is a challenge, and the big challenge is for the existing businesses that are here that are fighting for survival, especially small business.
How bad did it get in the month of March and April? Is it really true that we had days and nights when both our hotels downtown and across the city and our airport was always busy were almost completely empty?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, a lot of the hotels closed down. The airport obviously lost a lot of traffic. And businesses were trying to stretch their resources to be able to stay open. Medium and larger sized business had less of a challenge, but they did still have a challenge. Small business really had the big challenge because they usually have less in reserve, less capital, and they were just trying to stretch their resources and keep their employees on.
There's a study done by Harvard University, and I think Brown as well, that Nashville had the greatest decline of any urban area in the country, almost a 50% decline in spending as compared to January. Did that have the big impact, particularly on small business as well?
I think it definitely does have a big impact on small business, but there's such a hospitality concentration in Nashville. A lot of that data was heavily influenced by restaurants and other forms of hospitality spending. So, obviously the people of Nashville took safer at home seriously, and we hope they've been stockpiling those funds for the reemergence of this economy.
You've seen Nashville for years. You weren't here when the tornado happened in 1998, but you were here when a good bit of downtown was underwater because of the 2010 flood. How is this calamity different just in its size and its scope since it's impacted everybody?
I love to tell people that while I've been at the Chamber, I've had a flood, a recession, a boom, and now a virus. I think the big difference here is that this affects every single person in the community. It doesn't just affect business operations, it affects consumer spending and consumer behavior. And I think that is a real difference, but we've done an economic forecast looking out forward, and we see reason to be optimistic about Nashville's recovery. Nashville has really strong positive fundamentals for its economy, and that will really play to its advantage as we recover. I'll take just a second to tell you that we had a great economy before. We had a growth rate that was triple the national average. We had record unemployment. We had a lot of new jobs growing. That stopped during this safer at home period. But by the end of the year, we think that unemployment will be back down to 5%. And by the end of 2021, the Nashville economy will be back in about the same place that it was when this all started. And that's if we all do this reopening well. We've got to do this safely so we don't get a rebound.
The unemployment in Tennessee is at a record 14.7%. What is it in Nashville? What is the unemployment? It has been down below 3. Is it going to be, you said it's going to get down to about 8. So where's it going to be right now?
Well, we're probably going to peak at unemployment in this region at about 10 to 12% sometime in June. And then from June on, again, as long as we don't create a rebound to the virus, we're going to see that continue to decline fairly steadily through the next 18 months or so. So but the peak is still out in front of us.
What is the Chamber doing for if small businesses are being hurt more than anybody else? What is the Chamber doing specifically for small businesses? That makes up a lot of your membership, not necessarily the big companies in town.
Well, Pat, about 80% of our membership is small business, and a large portion of our economy is small business. So when this all started, the first thing we did was reach out and assess what did they need. And what we found was that they felt they needed information and connection quickly. So we started doing webinars. We started arranging for expert speakers. We set up a site on our website that allowed businesses to connect with each other to do business. Be a good neighbor was what we called it. And when businesses listed themselves there, they were able to connect and start to do things. So during that time, for instance, when people were trying to feed essential workers, we were able to connect restaurants with people who are willing to fund those lunches. And there are lots of examples of that type of business-to-business connection here that took place over these last few weeks. As we look forward, we're looking at things like we're helping businesses sort of sort through the business liabilities of reopening, and we're working on policy measures with the state and local authorities, as well as businesses, to help discern those needs. The
PPE program, the other federal crisis loans that Congress has made available, are those working? Have they been helpful to your members?
You know, there's no question that the PPP loans and the federal support of businesses has been helpful. But the extent of that help was about an 8-week extent of help, and of course this has lasted longer. So there's no question in something like this, every small business particularly has to rely on the adaptability and the innovation that takes place with the business owners and the employees. So it was some helpful relief, but there's still a lot of stress. The customers, we need to get the customers back. And the customers will come back when they feel confident of the environment that they're entering.
At this particular point, Congress is debating whether to have even more relief coming out of Washington. It sounded like what you said, you might like to have some protections for businesses so they can't be subject to a lot of lawsuits if they reopen and something happens. Is that one of the things you'd like to see if Congress passes another bill?
Yeah, I think it can actually be remedied at the state level, the frivolous lawsuit aspect. And just keep in mind, that doesn't mean that there won't be legitimate lawsuits to be undertaken in this recovery. The idea here is to make sure that as the legal costs of proceeding with a lawsuit occur, that lawsuit has a real legal basis to proceed. But that's probably more of a state focus.
Ralph Schulz, the head of the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce, is our guest on Inside Politics. We're talking about the Nashville rebound and the area rebound, since this is the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce he represents. Back for more conversation after this break.